Breaking news just moments ago, Facebook announced it is getting rid of fact checkers and also making major changes to what content is allowed. This is just the latest move as Facebook's parent company Meta and founder Mark Zuckerberg work to very publicly win favor with Donald Trump.
Yeah, and they're doing this because, as you guys know, and I'm going to pull this video up for you guys, Trump said when he comes into office that he was going to stop a lot of the censorship. I'll find a video for you guys. This was right after January 6th, by the way.
The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms. More specifically, here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes.
Taking a page out of Elon's book.
Similar to X, starting in the US. We tried in good faith to address those concerns without becoming the arbiters of truth. But the fact checkers have just been too politically biased and have destroyed more trust than they've created, especially in the US.
Wow. Getting rid of fact checkers. And Claire Duffy, you can see her right here, is here with us now. So what's going on here?
Yeah, John, this is a major reversal. Let's not forget that the reason that Facebook and Meta introduced this third-party fact-checking system in the first place was because it was accused of allowing foreign actors to spread disinformation and discord around American political elections. Now the company is saying it is getting rid of those third-party fact-checkers and will introduce this system called Community Notes, which is something that Elon Musk has also rolled out on X. It lets users add user-generated context labels to posts, but you're relying on users to do that and to bring in the information. This was announced on Fox and Friends by Joel Kaplan, who is one of the company's top Republicans just last week. We talked about he was elevated to the company's top policy job. Here's how he described the system.
And so somebody can write a note, and then the way it works is different people on the platform can sort of vote on that note. And if you get people who usually disagree, who all say, yeah, that sounds right, then that note gets put on the post and people see it. X has been doing it for a while.
Yeah, it's called the marketplace of ideas, which is precisely why, right, Elon is on some bullshit with this, because when he says, oh, freedom of reach isn't, let's continue the video and then I'll talk about this.
We think it's working really well, and we're going to adopt that system. So
Meta also is announcing a number of other changes to its moderation practices. It's going to scale back some of the automatic filters that catch bad content. It says it will keep that for things like terrorism, child sexual exploitation, but for lower severity violations, it's going to ask users to report those before it evaluates them. Company is also moving one of its key safety teams from California to Texas. Again, an effort to sort of appeal to perhaps users in that part of the country. And Zuckerberg said that this is going to allow more bad things to make it onto the platform. He acknowledged that, but he said it will help with free expression.
A couple points I want to make here. Number one, Joel Kaplan announced that on Fox News. Again, everything very public, unsubtle, I think, what Meta is doing here. And I think they would perhaps admit to that. I don't think they would run away from that. And the New York Times reporting that the Trump administration got a heads up about this policy shift beforehand. So again, seems to be part of this larger, very public effort to curry favor.
Yeah, and Kaplan he acknowledged that it was in part because of this change in administration that they are making these changes. He said that over the last 4 years, the company feels like it's experienced pressure to crack down on more content, and that the Trump...
Also because no one uses Facebook. Facebook is like dead now. The only thing keeping Meta afloat, guys, is like fucking Instagram.
Administration offers them an opportunity to pull back a bit there. So he is acknowledging it. I will note, too, the company announced yesterday that is adding 3 new board members, including UFC CEO Dana White, who we know is a Trump.
That's a big deal that they brought Dana White in. That I think a lot of the pressure to do this more free speech thing comes from Dana White. For those of you that aren't aware, Dana White is also good friends with our boy Chris Pavlovsky, the owner of Rumble, the only real free speech platform, FYI. The reason why I fucking rock with Rumble so hard and Chris Pavlovsky is because they're the only ones that really believe in freedom of speech. These other niggas are on some bullshit, bro. Keep it 1,000 with you guys. They're going to have a little bit more free speech. But are they going to be real free speech like Rumble? Fuck no. Fuck no.
Trump supporter. He was stumping for Trump on the campaign trail. So it does feel like this broader shift at the company.
Yeah, completely unsubtle. All right, Claire Duffy.
And I have the video ready for you guys about Trump talking about freedom of speech here. And this was actually back in 2022, if I'm not mistaken, when you filmed this video, chat.
Thank you very much.
Meta has announced this morning that is making major changes to its content moderation on Facebook and Instagram. Mark Zuckerberg is saying they're getting rid of fact checkers, replacing them with user-generated community notes, which is similar to what we know Elon Musk has done with X. The way Mark Zuckerberg puts it in his announcement was that he says the fact checkers were too politically biased, and he's now attempting to restore free expression. The New York Times is reporting, Congressman, the Trump administration got a heads up about this move. What do you think of this?
Look, it's the lack of profiles and courage. Would Zuckerberg do this if Trump had lost the election? Is this just an attempt?
Fuck no, he wouldn't. Fuck no, he wouldn't, man. Mark Zuckerberg is the face of censorship, bro. And I'll be honest with y'all, I don't trust him at all. He'll maybe allow a little bit more free speech, but looking at Elon Musk's behavior, is going to be slightly a little bit more. You might get unbanned. Hopefully we can get unbanned. I'll see what happens. If we get unbanned, that'd be lit. But I'm not holding my breath.
Blatantly trying to appease the president going in so he's not attacked. Let's just remember in 2017, the entire intelligence community said that the Russians attacked through social media our democratic.
Yeah, 50 plus intel officers said that bullshit, and it was a fucking lie. Spread by the fake news media.
Wrong. Process, and they did it to help the Trump campaign. So social media is.
No, it hurt the Trump campaign. What the fuck are you talking about? Those intel people were saying that there was Russian inclusion in the campaign, and that hurt Trump. The Russia hoax. Remember that, guys?
An extraordinary weapon against our democracy. There is a balance to protect our First Amendment rights. But when you take away the guardrails and you see the far-right connections here, it's a great concern.
So can you do about, I'll say, the Elon Muskitization of the federal government, if that's the direction it's going? Not elected, not going into the government. What direction is this heading?
Look, what we can do as Democrats is draw attention to what he's done and the fact that obviously he wasn't elected and how this impacts him. When we took out in that first bill, the disaster relief, all we could do was communicate with the American people how much it would cost each state in disaster relief. That had to get put back in the next bill, and it did. But
okay, chat, I found the tweets where I cooked Elon Musk. So let's finish this video and I'll show you guys after.
That's all we can do is communicate directly with the American people and our colleagues and hope that they understand Mr. Musk, while wealthy, is not particularly intelligent about a lot of items. If you're so rich, why aren't you smart? And he's not connected to the American people, and he has a disconnect.
He is a foreigner. This is true. South African.
That isn't really.
He's a U.S. citizen now. I think he naturalized back in the early 2000s.
Concerned with their needs. So I think that's the limit.
Yeah, we used to stream on Facebook back in the day. We did. Then them niggas fucking banned us. Fuck Facebook, man.
Of what we can do where we vote in Congress.
Congressman Mike Quigley, thank you for coming in.
I'm going to ask you a meta question, no pun intended here. Maybe pun intended. How do you feel about facts?
How do I'm pro facts. I mean,
right.
Yeah, look, I'm an engineer. I'm a numbers guy. I'm a
Wait, someone on CNN saying they were pro facts? Yeah, that's cap, bro.
spreadsheet guy. I'm a firm believer that you look at the data, you make decisions, you be super transparent, especially for those who hold public office. Explain to folks why you're making the decisions you are based on data, and you move forward.
So some things are objectively true, other things are objectively not true.
Last time I checked, yes.
Okay, so the reason I'm asking is because Meta, the parent company to Facebook, announced this morning that it's getting rid of its fact checkers.
Great, good. Nobody believes them. No, in their own words, there was severe political bias there. If there was a conservative group that had fact checkers, I'd say there's political bias. If there's a liberal group, if there's social media groups, if there's always going to be a bias in what you do. I think in the social media world, the political bias got very, very heavy. They acknowledge it. They're going to make a change.
Can you get better fact checkers then, rather than getting rid of them altogether?
How about not worry about fact checking?
Well, you just told me that there are things that are objectively true and objectively not true.
They are, but is that the role? Is social media's role to prove to you what is true and what is not, or is its role to be an open platform for discussion, debate, opinion, you know, whether folks believe something or not believe something? I would say that's really where social communication, that's more of the role of social media, not to be the police of what's true.
Without using words like police, and I'm glad we're having this discussion because it's an important one here. Whose responsibility is it then to...
All right, this guy, I like this guy. He's calling it like it is. I respect.
To talk about what's true and not true.
Yours, mine, my kids, our communities. We all have that personal responsibility. It's not the government's. There's a freedom of speech aspect to this, of course, but it's not the government's role to necessarily tell you absolutely what is true and what is not true, what you should believe, judge you on what you believe and how you're voting.
Yeah. We're not talking about the government. We're talking about Facebook.
Right. It's a private business. So, right. Is it in their business model that we are going to be the police of truth in America, and when people say something that isn't true, we're going to immediately correct it or ban them? No, of course not. I'm going to guess. I haven't seen the business plan for Facebook, but I'm guessing that Meta doesn't have it in there.
How do you know when you go on Facebook whether what you're reading is true?
You don't. You don't, and that's why you shouldn't use Facebook or just Truth or just social media or just CNN or just ABC. You use your experiences to understand that what you're getting. And I'll say this, I think the next generation, I think we have this tough debate on it because social media is new for us, right? Our generation invented social media. We didn't have the maturity and the responsibility to handle it appropriately. I think the next generation does. I think they know the vast majority of what they're seeing online isn't necessarily truthful. There is bias on both sides.
Not only that, but like the old niggas, bro, they rely way too much on mainstream media, and that's why mainstream media has been able to fucking hook, line, sinker these guys for literally decades. Guys, mainstream media ran shit. I would argue mainstream media is the reason why we still don't know what the fuck happened on 9/11. Why is it that someone like me, former Fed, used to work for the Homeland Security, the agency was literally created through 9/11, and I got to be the ones that tell you guys the truth about 9/11. I can't even do it on fucking YouTube. I had to talk about 9/11 with you guys on Rumble, 5-part series. I did it with Ryan Dawson, right? It's all on my Rumble channel, FreshandFit. Go look it up over there. Went over 9/11 in detail, right? Now, here's the video that I was talking about. This is Trump talking about what he would do when it comes to censorship. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he recorded this in 2022.
Speech, then we just don't have a free country. It's as simple as that. If this most fundamental right is allowed to perish, then the rest of our rights and liberties will topple, just like dominoes, one by one. They'll go down. That's why today I'm announcing my plan to shatter the left-wing censorship regime and to reclaim the right to free speech for all Americans. And reclaim is a very important word in this case because they've taken it away. In recent weeks, bombshell reports have confirmed that a sinister group of deep state bureaucrats, Silicon Valley tyrants, left-wing activists, and depraved corporate news media have been conspiring to manipulate and silence the American people. They have collaborated to suppress vital information on everything from elections to public health.
And those Silicon Valley losers, who are they? Zuckerberg, Thiel, Musk, before he obviously left to Texas. The PayPal mafia, the Sachs, all these motherfuckers.
Censorship cartel must be dismantled and destroyed, and it must happen immediately. And here's my plan. First, within hours of my inauguration, I will sign an executive order banning any federal department or agency from colluding with any organization, business, or person to censor, limit, categorize, or impede the lawful speech of American citizens.
Now you guys see why these tech jumped on board. They're not going to show you this video, are they? But I got a deep memory. I don't forget shit. Because I remember after January 6th, when they went after Trump. I remember that they tried to say that he was an insurrectionist. I remember when Colorado tried to pass a fucking law to say that he violated a certain amendment, if I'm not mistaken, the 14th, that made him an insurrectionist, which would mean that he would be incapable of running for president. I remember when all the news media went after Trump and said that he's a criminal, he's a rapist, he's a criminal, he's a degenerate, he's evil, right? I remember that. And guess what? When January 6th happened, they systematically banned them on every single fucking platform. They banned them on Facebook, then they banned them on Instagram, then they banned them on YouTube, then they banned them on fucking Twitter. That's why the Truth Social thing even rose up in the first place. When you take someone's voice, you take their ability to defend themselves. And that's what they effectively did. Then the indictments came. New York was first. Alvin Bragg and all of his cronies up there in New York City, those stupid prosecutors, you know who I'm talking about, those idiots. They went ahead and filed a falsifying business charge against him, which is typically a misdemeanor. They went after him. Then the Department of Justice followed right after. Indicted in the Southern District of Florida after a search warrant conducted by the FBI for having classified documents. Then he gets charged in Georgia for racketeering with Rudy Giuliani and a bunch of his lawyers for the January 6th insurrection, defrauding the government. Then he gets indicted again on the same charges federally out of the District of Washington, District of Columbia, out of Washington, D.C., by Jack Smith. So you got 4 different indictments. 2 state, 2 federal. 2 being run by Jack Smith, 1 being run by Alvin Bragg, another one by Fannie Willis down in fucking Atlanta. Right? And a big part of the reason why they were able to do this is because he was fucking censored the whole time. Couldn't put out any other information for his innocence. Right? And Mark Zuckerberg, Susan Wojcicki, the former head of YouTube, they were all complicit. They were all complicit in this. Now that Trump is taking office, everyone's switching their tune up. Musk went ahead and supported Trump after he almost got killed by Matt Crooks. Make no mistake about it. Peter Thiel, all these fucking guys, right? All these Silicon Valley bros, they're all Democrats. They're all left-leaning, self-proclaimed libertarians, but not really. They're fucking liberals. And let me tell you something about fucking liberals. Liberals don't respect free speech. Liberals don't respect the Second Amendment.